In the desperate twilight of World War II, as Germany's fortunes waned, a legendary beast of steel was born, the Panzer VIII Maus. Despite its name meaning mouse, it was anything but small or timid. At nearly 190 tons, it was the heaviest fully enclosed tank ever constructed, a rolling fortress that embodied Nazi Germany's obsession with superweapons and battlefield supremacy. Today, we explore the Maus in every facet, from its groundbreaking design to its crippling flaws, and discover why, despite its immense power, it never fired a shot in combat. The Maus project was initiated in early 1942 under Ferdinand Porsche, a pioneer in tank design. Initially called the VK-100.01, it was intended as the ultimate breakthrough tank, a land battleship that could shrug off any Allied fire and smash through enemy lines. Adolf Hitler was enthralled by the concept, pushing for heavier armor and larger guns than any previous German tank. Early names like Mammoth reflected the scale, but it was eventually nicknamed Maus, perhaps a darkly ironic jab at its massive size compared to the small rodent. The Maus measured over 10 meters long, nearly 4 meters wide, and 3.5 meters tall. It required a crew of 6 to operate. The armor was a masterpiece of protection, up to 240 millimeters thick on the turret front, roughly 9.5 inches of hardened steel, designed to defeat any Allied anti-tank weapon. The hull front was similarly formidable, at 200 millimeters thick. This made the Maus virtually invulnerable to contemporary tank and artillery fire. The Maus packed a deadly punch. Its primary weapon was the 128mm KWK-44L55, capable of destroying any Allied tank at ranges over 3.5 kilometers. The secondary 75mm gun offered flexibility against lighter targets, with an MG-34 machine gun for close defense. Shells for the main gun weighed over 30 kilograms each, loaded by the crew using a revolving drum magazine capable of holding 68 rounds. The complexity of the weapon system was staggering. Powering the Maus was a hybrid gasoline-electric drivetrain. The first prototype ran on a Daimler-Benz MB509 gasoline engine, while the second switched to the MB517 diesel. Despite 1,200 horsepower, the massive weight resulted in a power-to-weight ratio of just 6.4 horsepower per ton. The top speed was about 13 kilometers per hour on roads and much slower off-road. The suspension employed massive volute springs with 12 road wheels per side to distribute weight across 1 meter wide tracks. Despite its armor and firepower, the Maus was a logistical nightmare. It was too heavy for most bridges, which could not support its nearly 190 tons. To cross rivers, it was designed with a snorkel system, enabling it to ford waters up to 8 meters deep. One Maus was even intended to tow another underwater via an umbilical cable. Its enormous fuel consumption, over 2,700 liters internally, limited operational range to about 160 kilometers on road. Transport by rail required a massive 14-axle custom railcar, slow and difficult to deploy. Only 2 prototypes were completed. V1, built in late 1943, lacked a turret and was used for mobility testing. V2, finished in mid-1944, featured the full turret and armament. Both were tested extensively, but never deployed in combat. As Germany's situation worsened, production was cancelled in August of 1944, with only hulls partially built before scrapping. When Soviet forces captured the test site, they seized the Maus prototypes. The turret and hull were later transported to Kubinka Tank Museum, where they remain today as a colossal feat of engineering and a symbol of wartime overreach. The Panzer VIII Maus was the heaviest tank ever made, a monument to ambition, engineering, and ultimate impracticality. It never saw combat, yet its legend endures as a cautionary tale in warfare. Bigger does not always mean better. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into World War II history, like, subscribe, and tell us what you'd like to see next.